Hello, welcome to the G.I.Joe New News Classified Reviews. My name is David T. Allen, or if you would like, Super Dave 817. If you would like to see more of this content, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit the notification button for future videos. Thank you and enjoy.
Hello, welcome to another episode of the G.I.Joe New News Classified Review. We are being taken over by the Python Patrol today. It is all Python Patrol episode. It is going to be a fun one. So we're going to be going over classified figures 96 through 98, which are all Python Patrol items. Let me say good morning to everybody in the chat. Good morning, Lone Dragon. Thank you for joining us. Good morning, Michael Jean Fleming. Thank you for joining us today. I am David Allen, or if you'd like, you can call me Super Dave. So we have a lot of stuff to cover in this episode of the Python Control takeover of the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review today. And let's get into a little bit of history. I've covered this not too long ago, a little bit of the history, but I'm going to go over just a little bit more with you guys for people that might not have seen that episode. So here's a Python Patrol overview. In Dan Klein's, no, this is actually Carson Metaxas' book, The Art of G.I. Joe. There you go. Volume number 4. Good morning, Clement. Thank you for joining us today in the chat. Python Patrol has taken over the G.I. Joe New News Classified Review today. So I'm going to read a little bit about what Carson said in his book, because I've gone over what Dan Kleinsmith said in his series of books, Creating the History of G.I. Joe, but this is a little bit different. It says, Overview, 1989 Python Patrol. In the 1988 gamble on Tiger Force and Night Force had paid off, Hasbro successfully released 16 figures and 10 vehicles at retail through these two sublines in 1988, and collectors snapped them up. Hasbro doubled down on this strategy in 1989. Two new sublines, Python Patrol and Slaughter's Marauders, joined Tiger Force and Night Force on the shelves. Hasbro re-released 18 figures and 11 vehicles at retail through these four sublines in 1988. Of the 6 Python Patrol figures, only Copperhead had all new card art. The other figures' art was the same as the original, but painted over with a new palette. The Python Patrol vehicle pattern was created by hand at Hasbro. One of the designers discovered if he covered the vehicles with netting and spray painted the vehicles with a couple of different colors, it created multicolor scale. After scale effect, Hasbro settled on a maroon plastic with black and silver spray apps for retail release. So this is so far all the figures that we get in Python Patrol, the vintage line. Let's see. Good morning, Lone Dragon. Thanks for joining us again. And nice. I have a bunch of the Python Patrol. I got everything but Pythona and the Bat. Oh, okay. That's cool. 17:05 p.m. Wow. It's late there. It's late there, Clement. Thank you for joining us. Then I'm going to show a few of their vehicles, the Python Patrol vehicles, because we're going to be showing some of those off today in this episode. Let's if I can find them. There's two. There's 2 Python Patrol vehicles. There. The Stun and the ASP. And then we have the Conquest Python vehicle there. All right. So they all have that familiar Python Patrol logo. And this is their first appearance in comics, which had a lot to do with Darklonia and Destro and a different faction of Darklon trying to take control of the borders of Darklonia from another country. But in the animated series, Python Patrol was a mechanism where in which Cobra Commander was able to take the Pythonization of a Python snake and transfer it onto the armor and the technology of vehicles and troops. And so he did that with that device during Operation Dragonfire, which is the Deke animated G.I. Joe series that came out in the late 80s, like 89 or something like that. I got 6 of the first officer, the Viper, and the Mustard Guard, 5 of the second officer, and 4 Python Patrol Trouble Bubbles and TeleVipers. Wow! So you have a really nice faction of Python Patrol Lone Dragon. Very cool. You must obviously like Python Patrol. I think it's a really cool branding initiative by Hasbro, and Carson went into it in his book. They were trying to get characters back out to the market that had already gone out. Like characters like Copperhead, like the Viper, the Crimson Guard, the Officer, the Trooper, the TeleViper, and so on and so forth. And they did the same thing with Tiger Force, Night Force, and Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders. So that was the opportunity to get these characters back up. So this is the first time that we're going to be going into several of these characters. First is Copperhead. So he does not come with his water moccasin as a Python Patrol vehicle, which is very interesting that they didn't use his vehicle since they used him as a driver. But this is the first time that he had card art, as Carson stated in his book. So this is the Python Patrol Copperhead. There. He looks really cool. He looks really like a snake. Copperhead snake, doesn't he? He looks really nice. And he comes with a backpack. Whereas I don't believe the first version came with a backpack. This one does. And he also comes with a gun, which I don't believe the original version came with a gun either. So there you go. Copperhead with his gun and his backpack. And he looks really neat, I must say. I've always enjoyed Copperhead because he was kind of a cross between the Dreadnoks, Wild Weasel, Scrap Iron. There was a lot of elements of those characters on Wild Weasel that I liked. And in the comics, he's got a cool, like, Louisiana accent. I'll get G.I. Joe like that. But I really liked him. I thought he was a cool character. I'm glad that they reissued him as a Python character. So there you go. Let's see if we can get him to stand up. Oh, his backpack's making it difficult. There. So then we have the Cobra Officer. Now there's a bit of a interesting thing about the Cobra Python Officer because they changed. I don't know if it was intentionally or if it was by accident, but they changed the name on this, where this is technically the trooper. Oops, I lost his gun. Man, I always lose things and I always drop things. That is terrible. Oh, I think I see it right there, but I can't get to it. So I'll have to get to it later. They switched the packaging name. So the packaging name on the trooper and the officer should have been different because this is technically the officer and this is the trooper, not the officer. And the other one that they released earlier that I showed was the officer, not the trooper. So they swapped the names. So when they were doing the promotional material, you can see the figure names are not correct. It says Python officer and Python trooper. They should be the opposite. The one that has the officer should be the trooper, and the one that has the trooper should be the officer. So they made a mistake in the promotional material. So the card art has that on it as well. Well, not trying to reinvent the wheel, Hasbro, when they did their promotional material at San Diego Comic-Con when this was introduced, and they had like the computer renders and their slideshow, they also made that mistake. We don't know if that was intentional or if they were just trying to add to the fun of the mistake that was made in the 80s with the officer and the trooper. I think it was intentional, and I think they just wanted to keep that lore going longer. And so I think it's really fun that they did that, and I think it was a good idea because that keeps the mystery of these two figures for the Python Patrol still in people's minds and makes it an interesting part of the lore. So there you go. There's your Python, I guess, officer with the trooper body. And I lost his gun down there, so I'll have to go get that later. So then we have the TeleViper. And the TeleViper is pretty much the same as the previous TeleViper with a different deco. So that one, it's more gray, whereas Copperhead was more green with the Pythonization grid. The officer was black, and then he is gray. So it kind of matches. When you put them all together, all the figures together, they kind of go together as a scheme all together because the Crimson Guard had more yellow, right? So now the TeleViper had some yellow to match with the Crimson Guard. So they kind of go together. And then there's reds and stuff like that as well on these figures that kind of matches with the other figures. To give to like the officer, Copperhead, and the Crimson Guard, the Trooper, the Viper, and so on and so forth. He's a very wobbly figure, so I'm probably not going to let him stand because I don't want him to fall. So there, I got him all together. There's your TeleViper. Now, originally, he did not come with the Trouble Bubble as a Pythonization item. Let's see. 610. Good morning, Super Dave. Y'all smash that like button and subscribe. Hope everyone is doing well in the chat. Thank you very much. Yes, definitely subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification button, and share. Right now, that's a big thing, is sharing these videos out as much as you possibly can to get more interest in the channel and to grow the channel. I'm not trying to get like millions of people. I just want to get a nice group of people in here. And I have some really cool guys already. You guys are all wonderful. You're always in the chats, which I appreciate. In general, I'd rather have the yellow Python Patrol than the red Python Patrol. Oh, okay. You don't like the red, and you like more of the yellow. I like the yellow too, the canary yellow for the like Crimson Guard and the TeleViper. But I guess they needed those little deco hits to kind of blend it in together. But there's a lot of different schemes with Python Patrol. There's some of them, the red ones, I guess, they're all right, but I understand where they're coming from with it, but I understand where you're coming from as well, Lone Dragon. But I think having different things gives a variety, a little bit of a variety for these, so they're not the same. So then, because we haven't gotten any Python Patrol vehicles except for the one we're going to talk about today. There's no other vehicles yet in the line. I wanted to show off some of the vintage Python Patrol. This is the ASAP Python Patrol vehicle, which looks really cool. I'm wondering if we'll ever get an ASAP. This was used a couple of different times. I think there was some done in the modern 4-inch line, and then obviously we got two different vintage versions of it, which I kind of like. I think it's really cool. Um, so then you can see it has that the red gridding that they said with the cross Pythonization uh, pattern over it. And then we have the stun, which I really like the stun a lot. As a vehicle itself, by itself, it's a really cool vehicle. But then the stun kind of opens up like this. If I can get it open. A lot of these things I don't really get to play with. So the stun goes like that, where you can hit people from two different angles, and it drives really quick, and it's really cool. But again, it has that red with that Pythonization gridding on it, and it's pretty cool. I think I hope we get the stun at some point. They've made a few different variations of the stun over the years. Obviously, we got the vintage version, then we got the Pythonization version, and then I think there might have been another version later in the 2000s again, like the ASAP. Um, so there's that. And then, of course, we have the Conquest. Now, another vehicle that we haven't gotten yet in the classified line. And I think if we end up with the Sky Striker, it's going to be like this. It's going to be smaller because I think the Sky Striker is just way too big. But again, they're using that Pythonization pattern on the red paint. And it looks really cool. It's like a burgundy paint. And there's all kinds of little Pythonization tampos and logos and stuff like that. But I think they did a really good job with these overall. I'm very, very happy with it. And I hope after we get the Trouble Bubble, we get other vehicles for Python Patrol to go along with all the figures, because with the 3 that I'm going to open up today, we're going to have 8 Python figures and only 1 vehicle. So I think we need something else to carry these figures with. Probably a stun would be really cool. Maybe a Conquest. I don't know. I think in order to have a complete faction so they can attack with, we need some air, we need some land, we need some defensive stuff. We do have the Trouble Bubble, but that's about it. So I think we need more Pythonization or Pythonized vehicles in the line. I hope at some point that happens. If we do get a stun, maybe we'll get a Python version. I'm hoping we maybe get another 4-wheeler, the Ferret, as a Python vehicle, maybe. That would be a land vehicle at least. And then if they do the ASAP, then that will be something defensive, possibly. So then you have the Trouble Bubble, the Ferret, and the ASAP. They're all smaller, low-hanging fruit type vehicles and accessories. But who knows? All right, so let's get into Python Patrol number 96. And that is Copperhead. Michael G. Fleming. I'd like to see a Python Stinger like the club did, and I think was an international release back in the day. Now there you go. That's a good point, Michael Gene Fleming. There's other versions of these things in other countries as well, and plus the club did other stuff. So I think the Stinger is a very easy one to do because we already got the Stinger. So a Pythonization Stinger, maybe a Ferret. There's some other vehicles that they've already made. They could redeco. Smart, and I agree with you. I would love to get that. So, and then 610 Yojo Daddy, Python Hiss, is a repaint possibility. Now, definitely the Hiss is a repaint possibility. Um, I think they're going to try to get the more popular Hiss tanks out of the way first. So Arctic was a really popular one, and I think the Septic tank is another popular one, and possibly the Hiss Mark II might be another popular one. I think that's what we're going to get first, and then maybe a Python version. Who knows? But I hope they don't release too many hisses all at once. I think one hiss a year would be fine. Doing them any faster is going to be make it hard for the collectors to try and get all those. Um, I I know the hiss wasn't originally Python Patrol, but there's a possibility. I agree with you. 610 Joe Daddy, Michael G. Fleming. Um, Oh, a Pythonized hiss would be beautiful. Yes, I agree. I think it would be beautiful. Um, but like I said, I think we're gonna get the septic tank next, and then possibly the Hiss Mark II, and then maybe after that, maybe the Python. Who knows? But again, back to Copperhead. So we have this really cool artwork, kind of the same artwork that was on his previous package. They just colored it with a different layering with the Pythonization colors. Um, so then we have the um, target artwork with the QR code to nowhere. And then we have the render on the back. He does not come with a lot of accessories. A couple notifications here as to what's on the figure, the call outs. Um, so he looks really cool. Again, he looks like his figure that he came as a vintage version. Looks very similar to that. I think there's a lot more gritting on the pants from what I can tell there, definitely. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So let's get him out of the package. Oh, first, let's go into the front of the package. The Shooting the Galaxy photography artwork, which has the Python logo on the front. Um, 610 Yojo Daddy. I think the next major repaint Hasbro will be the Tiger Fly next year, as it will be 3 years out from the original, and I think it will happen before another hiss. I strongly agree with that. I think you're right. I think we're going to get the Tiger Fly first, because we also have behind that the Tiger Rat and then the Tiger Cat. So I hope if they do those three as Tiger Force, then we will get every year a Pythonized version of something, whether it be a ferret, whether it be the stinger, whether it be another hiss, to correlate those Tiger Force vehicles. Because if not, Tiger Force is going to overpower Python Patrol, because they already have the Tiger Force Ram and the Tiger Force Ferret. So they already have two vehicles over the Python Patrol, which only has one at this point. Um, Dave, what do you do with the boxes after you open the boxes? That's a good question, Clement. I throw out all the like packaging, like the plastic and all the ties and all that type of stuff. I throw that stuff out. But then I take these boxes, I fold them down, and I keep the insert artwork, and I keep obviously the lockers, and I put them near the figures. So I break it all down, and I have them in storage containers, because I'm a bit of a pack rat when it comes to certain things. I want to keep the memory of something. So in case I lose something, I'll have the package or whatever still as a reference. So I fold them all down and I keep them in a storage bin after I'm done. The deluxe packages that are fancy, I keep them put together and I don't fold them down. I leave them intact. I only take these in the larger packages and I fold them down. So anything that's like let's say, Chuckles, uh, like this Chuckles, I leave it the way it is and I put it back because I don't want to damage it. Um, let's see, where am I at? Yep, that seems likely. Python, snake, and claw, please. Oh yeah, there's some interesting new repaints. Python, snake armor, and the claw. Yeah. Um, Terrence Childs. Hi, nice. Sure as always. Hola, Cobra. Oh, thank you, Terrence. Thanks for joining the chat again. So we're talking about the Pipeline Patrol. They have taken over my stream, and they are now in control of what we're doing here. And that's why I have this shirt on. It's kind of a Python Patrol type logo. So I thought it would be the best shirt to wear during this. I always appreciate that. Thank you for calling that out. So let's see. So the Pipeline Patrol, there's that lizard again that we're gonna get with Armored Cobra Commander. This is like the second time they've used that lizard, and it's at night. It's in the temple. It kind of reminds me of Operation Dragonfire when they got in that temple where they had the Python Patrol originally. Um, Oh, you got your Pythona, Bill Noir. Great, I'm glad. It's an awesome, awesome figure. I think it's fantastic. So I'm glad that you got that. So all right, so let's get into Copperhead because we got a lot to cover in this video, so we're gonna have to move this along. I apologize to the chat. So there's your Copperhead in his package and his weapons crate. 96 Cobra. I think they should have put Python Patrol on that instead. Copperhead, Cobra Copperhead. Yeah. So I'm going to put his package down here. See? Put this over here for now. Open up Copperhead. Get him out of here. Bill Noir. That Copperhead is so underrated. Yeah. Well, the thing about these figures is the Pythonization deco is really striking. It really stands out. It makes characters look very unique and very different, and it almost is like you're getting a whole new figure. Even though you are getting a new figure, it adds a little bit more layering to it that I really like. It makes it very unique. So yeah, I agree with you on that, Bill Noir. Let's see. All right, so put this here. As always, all these figures, this is the first time that we are opening all these figures and all these items up. And we started with double zero Snake Eyes, and we are now going to be up to 98 by the time we finish with this video. And we've done 12 vintage package figures, and we've done some odds and ends with the running variants and the Fortnite Snake Eyes. So we're just moving along with this. And so there you go. There's your Copperhead insert, and there's your Copperhead figure. So we're going to put these in here, and we're going to put this over there. There. So let's see. Let's look at our Copperhead and see what the difference is between him and the vintage. So there's your two. Morning, Sean Jones. Thanks for joining the chat again. We appreciate it. Hope you're having a safe drive to work. So, like I said earlier, they did not give the gridding on the legs. So there's a difference there. So this one has the gridding, but this one does not. He keeps leaning over on me. They do have the gridding and the cross hatching on the arms and the chest, though. They did add more red to it. There's definitely a lot more red on this than there was on the vintage. Like the holster on the side there is red. He's got these gloves that have some red on there that are different, that was not on the vintage. He also has a black trunks, whereas the vintage had gold trunks, and he has a bit of gold on his belt there. That's different as well. That little piece of deco is different. And then he has the Python logo, which this one does not, the vintage one does not have the Python logo on it. The helmet looks the same. Pretty much the secondary and the chest and all that looks pretty much the same. The boots and the everything else looks okay. He does have that second padding in the interior of the legs that's also yellow, whereas on the vintage it was more of the green. He does have that pattern, but it's that part of his pants or fatigues or whatever you want to call them, but they're not yellow. So there are definitely some significant differences with Copperhead, vintage Copperhead, to the classified um, Copperhead for Python Patrol. But overall, it's a really good update, I must say. And I'm not sure if I showed these eyes the last time we did Copperhead. But look at the eyes on him. He looks really snake-like, doesn't he? Really, really cool. I like the face printing that they give these guys, and there's also a little bit of a rebreather that's in red, whereas the vintage one was all black. So I think it's a really cool update. I think they did a good job. I think where they took things away was smart, and things where they added was smart as well to balance it. I know you're not fond of the red, but I think the red on this one kind of gives it a little bit of a balance on the deco hits for Copperhead. So let's get his accessories out. Oh, let's first go into his articulation. So he's got the new ball joint articulation. He's got the butterflied shoulders, the double pin elbows, the double pin knees. He's got the calves and the thigh articulation. He's got the foot rocker. He's got the second ankle articulation. He's got the wrist articulation there. He does not have any extra articulation on the wrist or the twist part there. He does have the ab crunch there and the normal leg and crotch articulation. So your basic figure, and he pretty much is a redeco of the vintage uh, version of him, or the earlier version of him. I won't say vintage version because there are differences. So there you go. So let's get his accessories out of there. There are some differences there. So he does not have a lot of accessories. Legal jargon and gobbledygook. Put that back in there. Put that over there. There. So I'm guessing these are pretty much all the same accessories he came with on the previous version, the earlier version. I think there is room for another version of Copperhead if they wanted to do a more vintage-inspired Copperhead with the water moccasin as a retro vehicle. I think maybe we might be getting more retro items in the future, and I think it would be kind of cool to get a water moccasin with vintage Copperhead. So there's an opportunity there. All right, like the first version, we have this little rifle type backpack. So we're going to put that on his back. It has a little doodad there where you can snap it closed after you put that big gun in there. So there's this huge gun that he comes with, and they painted it gold. It's like the Clint Eastwood revolver. Look how weird it is. You can look up like that. And then you can put that big gun in his back, like there, has that targeting thing. And there's a little doodad on the back that you can close that with and snap that shut. These things tend to never work. I can never get them to close, But so I'll just leave it up like that. You think he's one of the first ones that could look up like that? I think the ball rocker articulation, maybe a lot of them can do that. It just depends on how they're portrayed, I guess. I'm not entirely certain on that. So then he has this other revolver. There, it looks like a Luger, like an old, like Russian Luger. There's a little doodad on the side of it. So we're going to put that into the holster on his right leg. So he has a holster on his right leg. He has a knife holster on his left waist. And then now he has that backpack with that on there. So there you go. And he's got two little secondary tampos around his calves there. These things, they don't tend to stay on very well. And then he's got this big machete that has a little bit of red rust in it. I don't know if you guys can see that rusting on there, but that's going to go in here, there, like that. If I can get it to go in there. There, yep. So I got his machete in there. So we got all of Copperhead's accessories and items on him. But again, there's a lot of different deco hits on this, along with the yellow and green gridding on the shirt and shoulders area. There's the red deco hits. There's also some black and yellow with the interior with the legs and the helmet and stuff. And they gave a little bit of gold with the gun and that little gold buckle there. So I think overall, I think this is a really nice second figure and a really nice Python Patrol figure for Copperhead. Update to the other version of Copperhead. So I think there's definitely room to get another Copperhead in the future if they wanted to do a vintage Copperhead with the water moccasin. All right, so now we're going to get into the Python Officer, which is 97. Again, very cool version. Yeah, very cool version. I agree. So there's the artwork on the Officer again, 97. Then we got the target artwork with the QR code to nowhere. And then we have the render with a couple of call outs on the side. And he comes with pretty much most of the accessories probably the previous Officer came with. And on the front, we have the photography artwork by Shooting the Galaxy, Matt. And we got the Python logo. And we got the artwork there with the accessories. And I forgot to mention that on Copperhead. We have that artwork with his accessories there. And so let's see. So far, I don't see anything in the background. This is definitely a new piece of artwork because the Cobra Trooper did not have this photography artwork before. Copperhead did, but the Officer did not because he was a different earlier package. So let's get him out of there. And there we go. And we have his weapons crate. Let's see, 97. Cobra Officer. Cobra. Again, no Python Patrol on that. So we're going to put this back here for now. Put that there. And so there you go. Put these there. So yeah, so that's going to be weird because I'm going to have him up there and I'm going to think of him as the trooper, but he's going to be the officer technically, and the officer is going to be the trooper. So I think that's fun that they remember the lineage, or they remember the history of the line, and they do those callbacks and those fun homages and stuff like that. And that's not the first time they've done things like that. There's other things that have happened in the past that they've called out, like on the packaging with different stuff from Sunbow, different stuff from the comics and things like that. They've called those little things out on there, and I like it when they do stuff like that. Do you guys like it when they do all those call outs and that all those fun things like that? I do. So there you go. Yeah. So he's pretty similar to the officer we got. Now the weird thing is I think we got an officer, a trooper, and a infantryman for Cobra. So I wonder if this has got some like mixed elements on him. Because he looks like he has the chest plate. I'm gonna pull the previous one out for my display to show, because the chest is the same chest. So definitely, I think this mold. They just redecorated it a second time. See, if you look at that chest part there, I don't know if you can see that, but there's that gritting and that chest. He's got the same thing on there. They both have the same chests, and they both have the same secondary. It's redecoed, and their belt is also the same secondary belt. And the hands are different because he's got more armor on his, whereas he doesn't. And he has the same boots. The boots are the same. These two have the same boots. The helmet looks the same. The mask looks the same. Let's see if I take his helmet off, if it looks the same. Yeah, and it's an African guy. That's another thing. There's an African face paint underneath there, and it's the same. So basically, they took this figure and they redecorated it to make this figure. Instead of taking the infantry and making it this figure, they changed it. So there you go. So I'm going to put that back on there. I'm going to put him back on my Python Patrol Tiger Force display here. So this is basically the same figure that we already got, except the deco is different to match the vintage version. So this is the vintage version, but you can see the secondary there. It's similar to that, but then he has the Y thing on the back, and that doesn't have the Y on it. So he does have the same knee pads and secondary on the left leg, and they did use yellow gloves on the vintage. It has the Cobra Tampo on the chest, the same as that one. Red mask. He's a white guy in this one. He's a black guy in this one. Other than that, I don't see much difference. There's just a little less yellow on this one. So we'll put him back over here. There. All right. So again, he's got a lot of that gritting of the other figure, and he looks really cool. I like the fact that they gave him the knee pads like they did the vintage one. Bill Noir. So many people hate on Python Patrol and Tiger Force. I love them both. I do too. I really like them both. I think they're very unique. It all depends on how you kind of add them into your universe, your playability, your the way you utilize them. If you utilize them as a like a kind of a Night Force type of thing, like an extra unit, a specialized unit that comes in for specific tasks, then they fit right in with G.I. Joe. If you just say, "Oh, I have a Python Cobra Trooper here, and I have another Cobra Trooper here, and and it's all mix and match," it kind of is confusing. But if you utilize it in story wise and storytelling, I think you could really get some really interesting ideas out of Python Patrol and Tiger Force, both uh, with that perspective in mind. So that's how I look at it. I've always looked at it like that. And the comics, they've done it that way as well. They're like a specialized unit that they ask for people to volunteer to for specific tasks, and then they go and they do those tasks, then they go back to their regular unit and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. It's kind of like in comics where you had like Total Justice, or you had the Secret Defenders, the secret unit that would come together from all over the Marvel Universe, or all over the DC Universe, and they would come together for specific story tasks, and there would be a different group of people every story, every few issues. The same thing with Secret Defenders and Total Justice, where there were different members every couple of storylines, because there were different needs and different skills for those tasks. That type of storytelling, I think Tiger Force and Python Patrol fits right in with that type of storytelling, if that's how you view it. But that's how I do. All right, so his legs are a little bit wonky. If you look at his crotch there, his legs are a little bit wonky, but I think he's not in there as tight as he's supposed to be. So I squeezed it a little bit. So there's a little bit looseness in there. So let's get to his accessories, and we'll get this moving. He stands up pretty good. And so we'll get his weapons crate opened. And we have the G.I. Joe Cobra packaging, same as Copperhead's. And we have the legal jargon and DC again. Put that over there. This here. And so, again, first time we're opening this up. So he came with a lot more stuff than Copperhead, obviously, because the first version of the figure also came with a lot more than Copperhead, which is fine. So it's just going to take us a minute to go through everything. All right, I think I got everything out of there. There. So first off, he comes with a second head. So I can't recall. Maybe one of you guys can recall if he came with the second head. So he's got the Caucasian head, and he's got the mask, a slightly different mask, and it's got that kind of gridding and extra detailing on the head that I like. I love a lot of these extra details. It kind of makes them more three-dimensional and more realistic, even though this is technically three-dimensional. So I'm going to swap this head out. Since I have the other one as an African head on the other figure, I'm going to take this one and make this one into a Caucasian head. Let's see if I can get this off. It came off. Good. So I'm going to put the Caucasian head on that one. There. Snaps right in there. And again, he's got those sinister eyes on there. Really cool. They do a really good job with that. So then the first thing I wanted to call out was this gray helmet. So this definitely matches the vintage gray helmet. And so I'm going to put that on him. There. Fits very snug. Looks very vintage. Lone Dragon. I'll keep buying Tiger Force, Python Patrol, and Night Force, but I have no interest if they are moving on to Ninja Force and Eco Warriors. Well, they've been doing Ninja Force already, Lone Dragon. There's been a dozen Ninja Force figures if you want to really get into that, like Storm Shadow, Snake Eyes, Slice Dice. They're doing Zartan. They've done Budo, they've done Kamakura, Nunchuck, Jinx, Storm Shadow, I already said him, the red ninjas, the blue ninjas. So there's a lot of ninjas already. So you don't necessarily have to get them because they're Ninja Force. You can get them for a character, if you like a certain character like Slice and Dice, or if you like Budo, or if you like, so I don't necessarily think you have to not get something because it has a Ninja Force logo. I think you can pick and choose and cherry pick the character based on the character and not the faction. So if, for instance, if you like this Cobra Officer Python Patrol, but you don't like the regular Cobra Officer, you can get the Officer and the Python Patrol instead. It's things like that. Or the Dukes. There's been 4 or 5 Dukes. You can pick which Duke you want. Or Snake Eyes. There's like 10 Snake Eyeses. You can pick the Snake Eyes that you want. You don't have to necessarily not get a faction because it has Ninja Force or Night Force or this or that on it. Let's see. Lone Dragon. I only have Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and some hand ninjas for red ninjas. I'll get a retro Jinx. Oh, okay. Lone Dragon. I'm just not huge on too many ninjas. Oh, okay. So you're one of the fans that don't care for the ninja aspect of G.I. Joe. You're more of the military aspect, I'm guessing. OG13 type. Because there are definitely groups of in the fan base that love the Ninja Force type aspect, but there are definitely also contingents that don't like the ninja. So that's interesting. I kind of like everything myself. And I don't care for the 90s neon colors. The neon colors. Yeah, the neon colors. That's an interesting thing. Um, Something that you might want to keep an eye out for. Go to my catalog on my channel. There's an episode. It's in neon pink, so you can't miss it, Lone Dragon. But it's an interview that I did with Vinny Dialeva, who is the brand manager and the market manager for G.I. Joe in the 90s. And he gives a very distinct answer to that question and that thought process. So it may give you a better understanding of the neon colors and this brand at the time. If you're interested, go into my channel and check that interview out. I think you might find it interesting. All right. Michael Gene Fleming. LOL. I'm the opposite. Python Patrol and Tiger Force are meant to me. I buy them, but I wouldn't break my heart if no more are made. But as a 90s kid, Eco Warriors and Ninja Force are awesome. See, that's the interesting thing about this brand, Lone Dragon and Michael Gene Fleming. Everybody plays differently. Everybody collects differently. I miss. I missed out on Joe's as a kid, so I kind of want all classified I can offer. LOL. That's a whole nother thing that people are now getting into this line that were never into it as a child, and I love that about this line. And um, Congratulations, Bill Noir, that you discovered this. And if you want to ask me any questions or any ideas or anything that you're not sure of, please reach out to me. You can reach out to me through Messenger, David T. Allen, if you have a question or want to just shoot me a comment on something that you think is weird or whatever. I do respond to comments on there if you do, and after the fact on this video if you want to comment as well. I collect. You collected wrestling figures back in the day. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of wrestling involved in G.I. Joe as well. Yojo, 610 Yojo Daddy. I'm in classified till it ends as a completist. I stopped around 1992 and I want all the things I missed that came out after. Anything I made to all, you want it all to come to classified. Well, you're in luck, 610 Yojo Daddy. I think that's going to happen. As much as we support the line, we're going to get more. Vinny, Lenny, and Tony have said they're going to try to do everything that has ever existed in G.I. Joe in classified. They're going to try and complete all of it. So that is great for me and you, and hopefully the people that want that. Bring on the 90s flavor too. There you go. Bring on the 90s flavor. Lone Dragon. I'm collecting to finally get the characters I love from the original cartoon. I started getting Joes as a kid when they were making figures and vehicles that didn't make it into the cartoon. Well, there you go. That would have been what, 2000s, the new sculpt era, Joe versus Cobra, Valor versus Venom, and so on. That period of time, Lone Dragon. You're from the 2000s era. You were a child, and now you're what, in your 20s or 30s. With Classified, we're living in the 80s remix. Yeah, that is true. It is like an 80s remix. You're right. So there you go. I got his helmet on him, and then he's got that similar sheath to Copperhead. So I'm gonna put that on his back there. Um, you guys are being awesome in the chat today. Thank you very much. Adding a lot of uh, comments and added content to this. So there's his back little thing there. He's got that rifle that came with the previous one. We're gonna put in there like that. Really cool detail on that. Stick that in there. He does not have the doodad that Copperhead had, which is fine. Just stick that in there. If I can get it in there. There, I got it. There. So we got that rifle in there. Lone Dragon, no. Like 86, the stuff that came out before the movie that was in between the first cartoon and Deke was what I had. Oh, okay. So you're the late 80s guy that didn't have any animation and didn't have a lot of content. It was in the comics, but it wasn't in the animation content. So okay, I understand. It's just unfortunate that they're not Bill Barclay. Hello, Bill Barclay. You're a new person in the chat. Thank you for joining us today. It's just unfortunate that they're not going ahead with Joe's Transformers crossover movie after that Rise of Beasts ending. You don't think so? You don't think they're going to do that movie? I've heard they are going to do that movie, Bill Barclay. Lone Dragon. Like I had the Mean Dog and Rolling Thunder, but no Rattler or Hiss. Ah, I see what you're saying. I gotcha. Um, Bill Noir. Oh, how did I never see the Deke cartoon in the 90s? I don't know, but it's bad. I'll just say that it's bad. If you want to see the characters, yes, a lot of the late 80s and 90s stuff do get used in Deke, but the cartoon itself is really bad. Um, um, I missed all the characters and vehicles from the original show. Ah, I got you, Lone Dragon. I thought I heard they weren't. Well, now that they're doing there's a speculation, Bill Barkley, that because they're doing the adult animated Skybound Energon universe, that maybe that might put some hold on that. But I'm still hearing there's production going forward on that, and the producer. Bonaventura said they are still working on it. It's just they're working on it slowly. Uh, so that's the last time I heard. Unless there's something new that I haven't heard, um, that's where we are at the moment. So let's see. Then we're gonna let's see. We have that little gun. We're gonna put that in his a little thing in the back. There, his little sheath. He has a little sheath on his back for the gun, and I think there's also a little thing for his knife. This one's on the the secondary waist holster, and then he has the cartridge. There's a little cartridge holster there as well. So let's see. We're gonna put the cartridge on there. It can go on the gun, obviously, so we can get the AK-47 type style for the gun. So let's do that. Let's put that together. Oh, you're welcome, Bill Barclay. Bill Noir, yeah, that cartoon is horrible, but had great characters and showed the vehicles very well. Yeah, so that's the trick of that series is it shows all the stuff that you want, but it's just, It's really bad. It's a bad cartoon, in my opinion. There might be. I have a friend that loves that era, that really likes it a lot, and there's several other people that like that era of Deke cartoons. It's not my favorite, but to each their own. I say, that's the way it goes. I'm not going to ever take anybody's love away from them. You love what you love for whatever reason, and that's fine. In the meantime, with uh, in the meantime, with Sarah 2 now out, even though it's a beta, people could possibly do a Joe vs. Transformers AI short or video. Yeah, definitely. Um, Michael G. Flynn, as a 90s child who unapologetically loves things like Eco Warriors and Star Brigade, let me give a second opinion on the D cartoon. It's bad. So everybody says it's bad. There are several episodes that are quite good, but as a whole, rather painful. Yeah, yeah, it's just bad. They just cheaped out on stories. People like Dixon, Charles Michael Hill did one episode, but Buzz Dixon wanted to do it, and they just couldn't afford him. They didn't want good writing, I guess. I don't know. Uh, I've rewatched the original He-Man series like 4 times and still have yet to make it through a rewatch of season 1 of Deke. Yeah, I've I've watched it when it came out. I watched it when I got the DVDs, but that's about it. That's all I could stomach. It's just bad. And a lot of things in it I love. Eco Warriors, Cesspool. I love a lot of that. Some of those vehicles are awesome, but I can't. I just can't get it. And so then we have that little dagger with the red hilt on it. We'll put that in there. Um, so yeah, it's a tricky situation. So then we have the goggles for his helmet. So we're gonna put that on his helmet there. Let's see if they will stay on there. Hopefully we can get them to stay on there. There. Oh gosh. LOL. Right. So we're gonna put this in his back, his extra cartridge in the back holster there that they gave him on that secondary. There. There. So you got that gun, you got that cartridge there. He's got his cartridge there in that one. He's got a little bit of deco on that rifle there. There's tons of detail on these rifles. They're doing a great job with these weapons, I must say. I love the fact that they're doing a lot of layering on these figures as well. Like I said earlier, it gives that 3D, more modern aesthetic to make them look real. And I guess they want that realism for the line. So it's fine with me. There's also a little bit of silver deco on those buckles on his boots, which I think the vintage one had, or the first version had too. So there's a lot of what he looks like there. Bill Barkley, do you think they'll do any more Joe Transformers crossover figures? There's been a few, but seeing more would be interesting. Yes, I do think we're going to get another crossover. Whether it's a Skybound crossover or whether it's a collab Transformer G.I. Joe crossover, I think we'll get both of those. So we got the HasLab, not the the San Diego Comic-Con set, which if you look up there, it's there with Jetfire, Skyfire, whichever you want to call it, through the Energon universe with Celia, Jarek. I think that type of stuff, maybe we'll start getting like a Hound with a Clutch, Transformer Hound with Clutch, and maybe a Sky Striker or a Starscream with Duke or something like that. That type of thing, maybe Megatron, maybe Optimus Prime, maybe some of the Void rival characters with the Quintessons, maybe Pythona with them, O-ring style. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. So yes, Bill Barclay. And then, from what I understand, there's one more collab on the way. It's Optimus Prime Mobat collab with Hawk. That's what the rumor is for the next collab. We got the Cup Sergeant Slaughter Triple T a couple years back, but the next one is supposedly Optimus Prime as the Mobat with Hawk. That's the rumor mill. So we'll see if we get that. So I think we can get both of those ideas, more of both of those ideas. Lone Dragon, man, they loved advertising those vehicles, though. They had the Joe's Arctic vehicles operating in the jungle in one episode. Yeah, that's true. You're right. There is a jungle version of the Snowcat. It was I think a San Diego Comic Con set with a weird orange hiss, and there was a green Snowcat. So there is precedent for that. Cool. Thanks. You're welcome. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can get this this these goggles on him. I'm not sure if they're gonna stay or not. I'm gonna try and get him on the helmet, and then I'll get him on. I'll put it on his head. Hopefully that'll work better than trying to get it on the head and the helmet at the same time. Yeah, so that's not going to work. So I'm going to try to put this on his head, and I'm going to put it over his eyes. Because they're kind of like snake. They're kind of like little snake goggles. They kind of look like really cool Python snake goggles. And so I like that. That gives some differentiation to him. You can see those goggles there. They look like snake eyes. Some of them were cool. I'd buy a hammer and a couple of Cobra Rage tanks. Yeah, they are actually. You're right. There are some cool vehicles from that time frame. Bill Noir. I'm here for it. I cut off other toy lines for classified and WWE Legends. Wow. Okay. Yeah, it is getting expensive in space. Space is a premium. I agree with you there. If we get a classified hammer, it's on. Well, that would be really cool. A hammer. I like the hammer a lot. Bill Noir. Whatever happened to the Cobra mothership, but Super 7 was gonna do. We saw image of it, then nothing. Well, it was a pre-orderable item, the mothership through Super 7. So we had to fund it like a HasLab, and it didn't get funded. We didn't meet the. It was about 2/3 of the way, but we never funded it, so it never came out. But there's a possibility. That they may release it differently. I've spoken to Brian Flynn about this. There's a possibility we may get it a different way. So don't count it out yet. Really wanted to see the Optimus Prime crossover, hoping it didn't get canceled somewhere along the way. I'm hoping so too. I would like to get that Optimus Prime because it's funny. We got a Megatron. We got a bunch of other characters. We got Soundwave, Bumblebee, Cop, but we don't have Optimus Prime. So we definitely need an Optimus Prime to go with the good guys because it would make sense that Optimus Prime and Soundwave would be fighting Cup and Bumblebee, right? Nice. So there you go. There's your officer. So again, he has the same articulation points as the previous one. The butterflied shoulders, the head rocker here, there. He's got the double pinned elbows, double pinned knees, calf, thigh, the crotch, same crotch articulation, ab crunch there, ab crunch. He's got the knee foot rocker, the ankle articulation there. He's got the wrist articulation. I don't think he has the secondary. wrist. Yeah, he does have the secondary wrist. He's one of the few figures that has the secondary wrist articulation. So that's cool. He's got one that most of the other ones don't have. So all the same articulation points. All right, so I'm going to put him over here with Copperhead and his friends, his vintage friends. All right, so then we're going to go into the big one. Number 98. The Trouble Bubble, the TeleViper with FlightPod Trouble Bubble, and that's the same artwork that was on the previous one. They just redecoed the art and gave it that Python color scheme. And then we have the target artwork with a QR code to nowhere, and then we have the render on the back with all the equipment and all the gear, a couple call outs for the TeleViper in Python colors. And there's your Python TeleViper. All right. So we're going to get this puppy open. And let's see. I know a guy that is about to start a 3D print of that Cobra mothership. Gonna be expensive. Oh, yeah. No doubt. The original version of it was like $700, $750. So it would have been like 800, almost $800 and change to get it. I funded it. I contributed to it, but like I said, it didn't get funded. There wasn't enough interest in it, so it was about 2/3 of the way. And it was going to come with a bunch of trouble bubbles and vipers and this and that, different Viper pilots and stuff, but it never happened. It was too expensive for Joe fans and collectors. Jason Atreides. Hello, Jason Atreides. Nice to see you again in the chat. It's been a while. I wonder if we will see another sub faction in G.I. Joe or Cobra. I think that's a good possibility because we already have kind of a sub faction with I guess it's the Gyre technology, Crystal Ball, and the Gyre the Ghost Viper. That's a new faction that never existed before. So I think we're going to get more figures like that. And then we also got in classified, which we will be opening very soon, the fire team, the 744, I think it's the 788 fire team that will go with the hiss. That's a separate faction that never existed in the vintage line as well. So there's two new factions that we've never gotten for Cobra. Joe is a different story. But it would be cool to get some new faction of G.I. Joe. Jason Atreides, I agree with you. I would like to see a new faction. Um, Bill Barkley, do you have that Joe's big F-15 jet that was painted up like Starscream? No, those sets, the G.I. Joe Transformer sets, I'm trying to get them. I did not get them when they came out in the early teens, 2000 odds. They were San Diego Comic-Con sets. I did not get them. I've been trying to get them. There's like, I think 6 sets. I would like to get those, but they go for 250 and up, and they're very expensive. So no, I do not have those. Um, um, Bill Barkley. 610 Yojo Daddy. Jason, we still haven't touched Sky Patrol, Eco Warriors, etc. We're gonna be getting more sub teams in classified. Yes, Sky Patrol and Eco Warriors are two subgroups that did exist in the vintage line that we have not touched technically yet. So we'll see how that goes. And I would love both of those because they're really cool. And the fact that we really haven't gotten really that much into the Air Force of G.I. Joe yet. That's another year or two down the line. We're going to maybe get some Air Force, possibly a reimagining of the Sky Striker that might have Ace and the Conquest driver. Who's the driver that was the pilot of the Conquest? I can't think of his name. So first off, we got this big honking crate 98 with the TeleViper and Cobra FlightPod Trouble Bubble. Slipstream, that's right. who was the pilot for the Conquest. I think if we get a reworking of, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to mention something real quick before I get moving on this. You guys have got me a little bit behind on this. So then there's the photography artwork by Shooting the Galaxy. Basically, it's the same artwork that was on the previous one, with the exception of it's got the temple in the background from the Operation Dragonfire episode that had the Python Patrol. It has the Python logo on it, and this is the Python version. So we have the artwork again, and we have the render of the accessories. All right. So let's see. Waiting for G.I. Joe's Street Fighter and Dino Hunters. Street Fighters, I don't think we're going to get that. But if you've been watching this channel, you'll know I've been opening up the Jada Street Fighters periodically with episodes. And we're going to be opening up another one, Ken, very shortly. They are in the same size comparison to G.I. Joe Classified, and they have lots of accessories and they're real cool packaging, and they're very cool figures, and you can put them together. In fact, I have the two that I've opened over there already opened, and I'll be opening up Ken very shortly here when we get to our 200 episode. So I think Street Fighter you're not going to get, but I think Dino Hunters is a possibility. If we ever get the Desert Fox as a vehicle, then it will be redecoed for Dino Hunters, and maybe we would get a Jurassic Park and G.I. Joe Classified crossover instead of Transformers and G.I. Joe, Jurassic Park. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? I think that would be an awesome collab if they could manage that. But Street Fighter figures, after I'm done with this, I'll pull a Street Fighter figure over and we can compare it to a classified. You can look at the two together. And they're through Jada Toys. They are phenomenal. I highly recommend them. They're awesome. Let's see. Lone Dragon, Star Brigade, and Battle Force 2000. Star Brigade, yes. I'm not sure about Battle Force 2000. I think maybe the last year of Classified will be Battle Force 2000. I think they're going to wait till the very, very end. Because if you remember where we got Classified from the start, it was very futuristic Classified figures. Duke, Roblox, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, Gung Ho. They were very futuristic. They had those laser guns and laser rifles and technology and gold and armor and all this. And people didn't like it. And I know Battle Force 2000, when it originally came out in the vintage line, did not go over very well. I think they should have waited to the end of the line to do it in 94, where they were doing a lot more futuristic stuff. I think it would have fit in better there. But that's just my 2 cents. Bill Noir, Classified can correct all the trash lines from back in the day and Star Brigade, etc. Oh, yeah, they can definitely correct that and make it really awesome. Lone Dragon, Entertainment Earth had Leatherneck on sale, so I got him coming. Need to secure Xandar and Footloose next. Well, that's awesome, I think, Lone Dragon. There's a lot of opportunities right now. You can get figures cheaper. There's a lot of sales. Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, Amazon, Walmart, Target are all having sales right now. So you can try to get some of that cheaper stuff that you might have missed. All right, so there's your Trouble Bubble, and there's your TeleViper. So we're going to open this up, get this out of the package. Let's see. There. Put that in there. All right, so I think my my Trouble Bubble came out of there. So I'm going to put it over there. There's my guy's extra head. So I'll put that extra head there. So my Trouble Bubble came out of there. I'll have to get the packaging up here real quick. One. There. 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 And so the TeleViper is over here. Oh. So yeah, so that's really cool. So far, these Python patrols have been really fun. I hope you guys are enjoying these. Um, I hope you enjoy this episode. I thought this is the perfect way to do this because it was all Python patrol as a sub group video, and I dropped my TeleViper. He fell. There. There's that artwork again. So we'll put that over there. And there you go. There's your TeleViper. He's a little crooked. There. There. He's a little crooked. I have to turn a lot of his parts there because they're sticking a little bit. But there you go. There's your TeleViper. Let's see. Bill Barclay, I know that third-party company TFC Toys did an Optimus as a Joe vehicle, Supreme Tactical Commander. The vehicle made was based on the Rolling Thunder. Wow. Yeah, we're not going to be getting a Rolling Thunder. There's no way. That thing would be huge to try and do a Transformer based off that. So I applaud those people for doing it and congratulate them for succeeding at that. But that I don't think Hasbro will ever do that. That's just my gut feeling. So let's see. Where's the TeleViper? All right, here's the TeleViper. So he has the gridding, whereas the Copperhead didn't have the gridding on the legs. He does have the gridding. He's got the yellow. His yellow is a little bit closer to the Crimson Guard yellow. The earlier yellow was more canary. So there is a little bit darker yellow. If you look at the Crimson Guard Python trooper, you can see that the yellow is more like a mustardy yellow, and not like the canary yellow that they were in the early days. So they did make it a little darker. So it does look like ketchup and mustard. It seems like that's a big theme in classified, ketchup and mustard, because we ended up with the ketchup and mustard divers. They should have made those divers Python Patrol divers. That would have been really funny, wouldn't it? A red and yellow diver. That would have been Python. That would have been funny. So again, he has the arms covered up, so you don't get to see the flesh bits on him like you did with the vintage versions. So that's a thing that they changed about this one. And this one has another African head there. I like I like the deco that they gave him with the red, the black, the yellow, the grays stuff. I think it balances really well and it looks really good overall as a color scheme. Again, he has all the same articulation points pretty much. The only difference might be yeah, he has the secondary wrist. So that's a rare articulation point that not a lot of figures have. He's got the ab crunch underneath there and that crotch and stuff. But he also has the head rocker. He's got the butterflied shoulders, the double pin elbows, double pin knees, thigh and calf articulations, the secondary ankle and foot rocker. He's got the wrist, and he's got the crotch and legs. So he's got all the pretty much the same articulation points as all the previous figures, with the exception of the secondary wrist articulation. So there you go. So let's put him over here temporarily. My Copperhead fell a little bit, so I'll fix him. There. Stay there. So he's on there. All right, so then let's get into this trouble bubble. Now, one of the things I wanted to call out with, oops, there's too much stuff going on. That's what I get for doing too many things at once. There's there's a call out on the TeleViper that I like that was on the first version of the TeleViper that I think is really cool. I want to show that one off again on this TeleViper. He has this little computer thing on his wrist that the first version of the TeleViper with the trouble bubble had, and I really like that. And he has the little watch with the blue little deco there, but this computer tampo is really detailed in there. You can tell he's doing different stuff. There's a scanner and everything. It looks really cool. I like that. I like those little added things that we've gotten, like with Clutch and with other characters over this line, that they add like that. Plus, he has that tampo, the Python Patrol tampo on his shoulder there. You can barely see it, but it's there. So they all have the Python Patrol logo. This guy, he had it on his piece of his armor right there. And Copperhead had it on his chest. So everybody's got the Python logo on them. All right, back to this. All right, so this is really cool. I love how they redecoed this and they gave a lot of that gridding on it, like right here and on this side as well. You can see that Pythonization gridding, and you can see that it kind of matches this color on this. It's a little bit more red, right? This is a little bit more red than that. This is darker burgundy, whereas this is more red per se, in my opinion. So definitely the color on the red is different. I do like the they have tampos, some designations for this FlightPod, and some other cool tampos on this side as well. Can't really read some of these little things, but different designations, stuff for technology and equipment that are on there. I love how back in the day with G1 Transformers cartoons and G1 cartoons used the same pieces of music within their shows. Yeah, because it was the same studio. It was cheaper to do that. Sunbow was part of Bacall, Griffin design studio, and so they were trying to make it as cheap as possible, because it wasn't cheap to make animation back in the 80s. It was fairly expensive. So there's a little tampo or Cobra tampo right there with the Python logo. And then there's a little bit of computer scanner there on that tampo there. And then there's another tampo on the other side there. And then when you look inside here, there's a lot of cool computer gridding and detail with tampos and stuff like that. And then again, like the first version, they have that little computer thing on there, whereas the first version was clear. This is dark. So I think it's really cool that they changed this up quite a bit and made it its own unique vehicle. So I really like it. They're doing a really good job with the balancing of the colors and stuff with this, I must say. So we're going to put the trouble bubble over here because I really don't have room for it. Well, maybe I could fit it here. Let's see. Yeah, there. All right, so we got a lot of stuff to get through in here. So we're going to open up the trouble bubble weapons crate. We'll see what we have. And let's see. We have 2 bags. One. 2. And the legal and gobbledygook and indicia again. So put that there, put that there. I am running out of space for stuff. So we'll put this here. Okay. And we will get to this. Let's see. Open up one. All right, so this has got a lot of stuff in it. So I'm going to have to take all this out. Let's see. see what we get. All right. Yeah. All right. So we have a couple of these little boxes and stuff. We're going to wait till we do the trouble bubble. We're going to go into the TeleViper first. So we'll put those over there. So we have two heads right off the bat. We have, like the first version, we have that computer scanner head. Bill Barkley, one Joe Transformer crossover figure I'd like to see them attempt is a broadside as a USS flag. Broadside would either need to be a Commander class size or a Titan class size. If they tried to do the flag and broadside as a Transformer collab crossover, I think it would be bigger than our house, Barkley, because the flag is 7 feet in length, and try to make a 7-foot length size Hasbro collab. Imagine how big that would be. He'd be taller than me. I'm only 5'11". He'd be taller than me. So he'd be bigger than the house. But I love your enthusiasm. I love your unbridled enthusiasm and energy when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, we're not getting that. There's no way. So I love the fact that they did this technology helmet on the TeleViper. That's kind of like a 3D kind of VR type helmet. And then they redecorated it yellow to match and added those little red bits and stuff like that. So we'll put that over here. And then we have a white Caucasian version with that grimace. You see that weird grimace he's got on his face? That's funny. I'm going to leave the black head on him this time. So then we have his backpack again, which is pretty much the same backpack we got with the previous TeleViper there. And we have his gun, basically the same one. Lots of detail in these, I must say. I like all this detail that they're adding with a lot of these things. They really look really cool. And then we have the bomb, but they redecorated the bomb into black this time. And then he's got the little tube that connects from his backpack to his gun, which is red this time. Let's see, what am I? Yeah, I know it'll never happen, but it's just wishful thinking. Yeah, which isn't. I appreciate that. I love that. I have a lot of things that I would like to happen too, but the reality, we got to look at the reality of this stuff. And that's what I'm going to be doing an episode. It'll probably be after episode 200. It'll be after the His Tank 100 review that I'm going to do a comparison video. And I want you to be in that one, Bill Barkley, because I think you can help me with this, because I'm going to show classified vehicles compared to vintage vehicles. And we're going to talk about HasLabs and the reality of this entire brand and how this stuff is going to work. Because I don't think people realize the difference between a vintage vehicle and a HasLab or a Hasbro classified variation of that. I had the trouble bubble. I brought the trouble bubble out for the previous trouble bubble, and it was about this small, whereas this is 3 times the size of it. And I'm going to do a comparison video with all the vehicles up to this His Tank 100 review. So we'll do the His, we'll do the Trouble Bubble, we'll do Serpentorus, Air Chariot, we'll do the Ram. All 4 of those vehicles, and we'll compare them with a vintage and their classified, and then try to give you guys an idea of what the realities of this is, because I don't think a lot of people understand the reality of this stuff. And the people that keep asking for a flag, HasLab, they just don't understand. Some of these things, the same people that are asking for a whale, it's going to be tricky. It's going to be hard. It's going to be expensive. So there you go. I'm going to be doing an episode after the 100 classified HISS HasLab review. So it'll be like very shortly after that, because I wanted to include the HISS in that video. So I don't want to jump the gun and do that video before I have the HISS to do it. So you'll understand. Okay, let's see. So that was all the accessories and equipment for the Trouble Bubble, the TeleViper. So we're gonna leave him the way he is. I think I made my other one. I gave him that VR helmet. I can't recall. He's back there. But we're gonna open this up. We're gonna open up all of his equipment and stuff for the Trouble Bubble, and we'll get going on this. Sounds cool. Okay, Barkley. Um, Bill Barkley. Looking forward to it. So we got a missile in there. There. We got another missile. And then we have the turret gun. So this turret gun was really cool when this came on the previous one. There's a lot of really cool detail in that. I didn't get to really show it off previously, but it's the same color. Looks really cool. I like all the tubes and technology and stuff that's on there. So we'll put that over there. Then there was these two little knobs that go onto the side that the missiles connect to. So we'll get them in a little while. So then we're going to go into the second bag. And we have a little box. And then we have, that's all. That's it. That's all that's in there. A little box. So, let's see. We have to open this box up. Let's see what's in here. It's the thrusters, the engine thrusters and control. So we'll put that over there. And so this looks really cool. I love all the deco on this. It's a really good blend of red, yellow, and black. And there's tampos all over the place. There's the Python Patrol tampo. Then it's the PE49L7A designation on there on both sides. Then there's a little bit of computer some danger, don't touch this, you might get burned type of thing. Hot exhaust type tampos, and yellow on that and red on that. 610 Yojo Daddy, and you can connect the mine bomb to the back of the gun. Oh, I did not know that. The back of the gun on here? This gun? Let's see. This bomb connects to this gun, 610. How does that work? Explain that some more, 610, because I'm not sure. So let's see. We're going to put the thrusters on the back. There. So we've got the thrusters on there. Get that in tight. So then I'm going to put the gun on the bottom here. The gun goes on the bottom here. There. So that's snapped in there. There. So I have the gun and I have the thrusters on. The top tip, this tip here, will insert into the back of the gun. All right, let's see. Let's see if that works. All right. So I have it on there. So for storage purposes, like that, that's pretty cool. I did not know that because I don't think I have my bomb attached to this. So that's a good way to think about it. I never knew that. So thank you very much, 610 Yojo Daddy. So that's the reason why we have these chats. So we can get everybody involved and they can give us new insights and new ways to do stuff. Right, guys? So I'm going to put the little doodads on the side, attach them to this. There's one there, and then the other one for the other side. There. Now that's different than the vintage one. The vintage one, you could put it in the seat, and the bomb would be like a remote. It would be like a remote device. It sat in the seat, so that is different than that. So they changed that up. And then I'm going to put the missiles on. Oh, if I can get this. A missile. And two missiles. Oops. I put one missile in and the other missile fell out. That's funny. Oh, the whole apparatus fell out. All right. And then my bomb came out of the bottom as well. So let's see. Try to get that back on there. There. All right. So I have everything on it. I like a lot of the color breaks on this. I like the straps being yellow. I like the fact that they actually added straps so their troops won't get killed trying to fly these things around. It looks really, really, really cool. I love trouble bubbles. I like little pod type things. So I hope someday we get the Locust as a G.I. Joe pod vehicle. I really would like that because I like pod type little things that are fun little vehicles. Um, and I think kids do too, but you never know. All right, so there you go. My only complaint with either trouble bubble was I wished the missile holders locked in. Yeah, they're a little loose. They do pop off. I agree with you there, Yojo 610, Yojo Daddy. Um, Buzzbore. Yeah, Buzzbore's a really fun little pod type vehicle. I like stuff like that. Buzzbores, pogos, locusts, trouble bubbles. I like these little vehicles you can put in your hand. You can just play with them and do all kinds of fun stuff with them. I would love to get that stuff. Trouble bubble. Oh my God, I would die if we got a trouble bubble. I would be so happy. But the problem with a lot of these things, maybe the trouble bubble could get reused. I think if they did it in Sky Patrol, they might do like a space pod or something with the trouble bubble. So it could get a reuse if they wanted to. And then the original version, Cobra version. So I think that's some reuse. The Buzzbore, I think they did do it in the club, a different version in the club, but I don't think the Buzzbore has ever gotten that much reuse. Um, Skyhawk and Fang are overdue. Yeah, definitely Skyhawk and Fang will be this year. I'd be willing to bet the fact that Hasbro did a cease and desist order to that company, that third party company that was doing their Eagle Hawk or whatever it was called, that means they're working on a Skyhawk. And there's been a rumor for a while that we're going to get the Fang because it's been in a lot of photography and stuff like that. I hope they rework it and it's much more realistic and they give the belts and stuff and they upgrade it kind of like what they did with the Rattler and the not the Tomahawk, the Dragonfly. They upgraded both of those and made them more realistic to a modern era. So maybe they would do both of those vehicles, but update them for modern aesthetic and technology. 610 Yojo Daddy. Running behind due to work phone calls. One of my longtime dreams is to design 3D print an alternate tower for the flag for 3.5 Sigma 6 figures, which would make the whole thing closer to scale. Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Um, Michael Gene Fleming. That's fine. I don't want you to skip your work emails. Do your job first, and you can watch this after the fact. I appreciate you sticking in there with us and commenting anyway. But yeah, focus on your job. Don't worry about me. I'll be here. Um, so there you go. There's your Python Patrol uh, squad. TeleViper, Officer, Copperhead, and Trouble Bubble. Um, so I hope you guys enjoy this deep dive into Python Patrol. I think overall, Classified has done a really, really good job with Python Patrol over the years, and I think they've they've really kept it exciting and really kept it innovative and really kept it new. So it made it more exciting as it's gone on. So I really appreciate the fact that they've done that. Putting this guy, this technological like pilot head on instead, because I'm going to stick him in his trouble bubble. Um, so I think they've done a really good job with this. There are other Python Patrol. There's a whole nother aesthetic of Python Patrol we have yet to get yet. The 2000s, they did a lot of orange. They added orange to the deco scheme because we were getting what we were getting: yellow, red, gray, black, and green early. But they added orange to the modern sculpt era Python Patrol. And then in the 50th anniversary, we got some new Python Patrol characters that were a lot more red and black. So we still have a lot of other Python Patrol we can get to if they want to do that. They've done all the original vintage Cobra Python Patrols that originally came out, and they added two new ones with Vipra and the Bat. So they are not opposed to doing new stuff, and they're not opposed to trying to complete lines. So they've done that with both Python Patrol already, adding a new vehicle, adding two new characters, and changing the decos slightly and technology and things like that. So I applaud them for that. I think Python Patrol has been very, very well handled in Classified hands, in my opinion. I hope you guys think so as well. I think these figures that we've got are really, really cool. Putting them all together, they look really, really cool. Tiger Force is a bit different. Tiger Force is kind of like all over the place with their decos and their different variety, but I guess it makes more sense because they're more individuals, whereas Python Patrol are more troops. The difference is Copperhead and Viper are individuals, but all the other ones are troops, so they want them to be more uniform. Whereas Tiger Force, they're individuals, so each of them are going to come to that theme, that thematic through line for that theme on their own terms and with their own artistic and their own characteristics in their own styles. So I can see why maybe Tiger Force looks a lot different from figure to figure to figure. But Python Patrol right now really works together. If you stick them all together, they really work and they look nice together as a squad or a faction. So and that's what I'm hoping they do with other factions, the Slaughters Marauders faction and the Night Force faction, both going forward, we'll touch on both of those factions and see how they work those out as well. But we haven't gotten to. We've only got one Sergeant Slaughter's Marauder, and we have not got. We've gotten to a couple of Night Force to a certain extent, but not really in that theme yet. in the grand scheme of it, you know. So we are very, very close to our 100th classified review HasLab. That is coming up very, very shortly. We're going to probably take a little bit of time to organize ourselves and make sure we have everything ready for that video, because we're going to need a lot of space, like Michael Gene Fleming told me before, to do that. Because it's not only going to be 4 figures, it's a vehicle, a massive vehicle. And I'm going to get my hiss out to my original hiss to go as a comparison to show you in this video, not only that other video down the road. But I said I was going to show you a Street Fighter figure in comparison to a classified. So I'm going to go pull out Ryu here to show you. Just give me a second. There. All right. So here's Ryu. And let's just go with the TeleViper. The Python TeleViper, since he's here. Let's see. So he has a little stand. So I'm going to measure this guy to the stand. So he has boots and he has armor and he has a helmet on. So there's a slight height variation there, but it's because he has no boots and no helmet. So it makes sense. They really fit well together. So if you want Street Fighter to go with your G.I. Joe classified line, Jada Street Fighter figures are awesome, and they come with all kinds of accessories, tons of articulation, just like the classified. And they have the clothing and stuff like that. They have power effects and different heads and fists and everything. They're really good. If you really want Street Fighter, then Jada Street Fighters are the thing for you. All right. So I'm going to put my TeleViper back down here. And then I will put Ryu over here. There. All right. So there you go. So we will be in that 100th episode. We will be opening up another Street Fighter, and that will be Ken. And then we will do our top 10 favorite Cobras. And we will also be doing the Hiss comparison to the vintage Hiss, the history of the Hiss, and 4 figures from the Hiss that came with it as well. So it's going to be a huge video. It's going to be like this video because there's a lot going on in this video. It'll probably be shorter than this video, longer than this video, most likely. But I hope you guys enjoyed this deep dive into the Python Patrol. Python Patrol took over G.I. Joe New News Classified Review for the day, and we'll try to get it back from them very, very soon. So we got a lot of fun things coming up. So we're now up to 98, and 99 through 101 will be our next classified review. We have several other episodes before that. We're going to be doing an interview with James McFadden. His book is right here. If I can get it. James McFadden's book, The Fighting for Freedom, the Unauthorized G.I. Joe Chronology. We're going to be doing an interview with him this week. And we will be doing a Skybound Energon Universe deep dive episode with my co-host Dan Thompson from Toy Talk Live. So we have those 2 episodes coming up. And then we will be doing the classified His Tank episode 200 for our channel. So I hope you guys will all be able to make all those episodes. So like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button. And I appreciate all your involvement today. It's been awesome. You guys have kept me going for quite a while today. Been like almost 2 hours for this episode. So thank you very much. You're all wonderful. And I appreciate everybody after the fact and the replay crew, hashtag replay crew. joining us and commenting and adding comments. It really helps the channel grow and helps that algorithm notice us. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you in the next episode. And this was a big Python Patrol Cobra episode. So, Hail Cobra!